Oh, he's here with business. He's got another forced nationalisation of another Spanish-owned firm. This one, though, it's got a little bit of a twist, doesn't it?
We need a map release at the moment, Stuart, for South American countries, absolutely, that are taking hold of Spanish-owned firms. Think Repsol and YPF in Argentina. This time, it's the Bolivian government and essentially the Bolivian president, Evo Morales, who's announced a forced takeover of the company Transporte de Electricidad. Apologies for my Spanish. This is a subsidiary, thank you, a subsidiary of the Spanish-owned company Red Electrica, which runs the national grid in Bolivia. Now, this has been on the cards for some time, but Morales put the finishing touches to that nationalisation programme, sending troops, you can see there, to occupy key installations for that company across Bolivia over the past 24 hours or so. It will hit the Spanish government in the pocket. It's a 20% stakeholder in this company. The company will get some sort of indemnity fee the Bolivian government has announced. We don't know how much yet, but this is the culmination of a 2-year project by President Morales to nationalise key utilities across Bolivia. Here's the Bolivian president.
To clarify for national and international public opinion, this company used to be ours, and we are now nationalising what used to be ours.
Now, I mentioned there, Stuart, of course, a couple of weeks ago, it was YPF in Argentina being taken off the Argentinian government. That was a subsidiary of Spain's Repsol. We saw the share price for Repsol hammered by that. Red Electrica in Spain as well has had a similar 12 months. Its share price down 20% for the last 12 months. It should be stressed, though, its Bolivian operations only account for around 3% of revenue, so it's questionable how hard this takeover will hit it in the pocket. But you can see there its share price edging down over the last 12 months, although it did finish marginally up in trading on Tuesday.
The situation is a bit curious, though, isn't it? Because Morales, he's kind of throwing a bit of an arm around Repsol himself, isn't he?
Yeah, I mentioned Repsol in Argentina having a pretty rotten time, and yet at the same time, and on the same day, in fact, President Morales was actually opening his arms up to Repsol. He joined the company's chairman for the inauguration and the opening of a new natural gas processing facility in Bolivia. Repsol investing around $500 million in that, and the Bolivian president making it very clear that he felt that Repsol was there for the long term. Many analysts are saying that President Morales is playing a fairly clever hand there. He wants to nationalise all these industries. He wants them back in the arms of the government, but he knows that he can't do it all in a stroke. He needs at least some foreign investment on board to keep these kind of utilities ticking over for the medium term.
We will, of course, keep an eye on both Repsol and Red Electrica once European trading gets underway. What about the rest of the markets? How are they looking?
Yeah, pretty strong performance so far on the Asian market, Stuart. Many markets, of course, back at work after the May Day public holiday. The Shanghai Composite's taking most of the day's gains on the Asian markets. You can see sharply up there, around 1.5%. Chinese manufacturing data, the latest numbers, weren't quite as bad as investors thought they'd be, hence the bounce. We should pick up on a few more of the day's business news stories now, even starting with Facebook, which will go public on the 18th of May in one of the most anticipated stock market flotations in years. That's according to sources talking to the Wall Street Journal. It's understood founder Mark Zuckerberg is meeting key investors around the world as it looks to raise around $5 billion. The new investment is expected to give Facebook a market capitalization of up to $100 billion.
UBS has reported a 55% drop in first quarter net profits, missing expectations. The Swiss bank's profits were 827 million Swiss francs compared to 1.8 billion last year. The results a better performance though compared to rival Credit Suisse, whose latest profits were down 95%. But UBS expected to face some tough questions from shareholders about a $70 million bonus pool at the annual meeting on Wednesday.
And Research in Motion shares have dipped nearly 6% despite the unveiling of a new BlackBerry. The Canadian firm showed off its new BlackBerry 10, the first time it's abandoned the traditional trademark keypad for a touchscreen. RIM is looking for a hit model, having seen revenue tumble 50% and its market share wiped out by Apple. Now, News Corp founder and chairman Rupert Murdoch has had a pretty tough year, it's safe to say. Forced to close the News of the World tabloid in the UK and humbled in front of the UK Parliament over phone hacking. And the UK government's latest verdict on the company has proved equally damning. The man who founded one of the world's biggest media conglomerates has been told by the UK government he's not fit to run one. But it's unlikely to change much at the top of News Corp, Rupert Murdoch's main company. Siobhan Silk explains.
In the view of the majority of committee members, Rupert Murdoch is not fit to run an international company like B-Sky-B.
Stark words from British MPs charged with examining the hacking of private phones for newspapers owned by Murdoch's News Corporation. With the scandal reaching the very top, Murdoch could be under serious pressure from the rest of the board of directors, which has a legal obligation to protect shareholders. But if Murdoch is unfit to run the company he founded, who could kick him out? The corporation's two-tier share structure means that not all shareholders are created equal. The Murdoch family owns only about 12% of the total stock, but a large percentage of the voting rights. Rupert Murdoch himself controls around 40% of the voting shares through the family trust. At 81 years old, even without the scandal, the patriarch would seem to be close to retirement. Son James was the heir apparent, but the hacking scandal has tarnished him as much as his father. Indeed, James has already had to step down as chair of the corporation's newspaper division and of B-Sky-B. But experts say the Murdoch family has an arsenal of legal instruments at its disposal to protect its position and let it keep a firm grip on power. They say in the end it may be internal family politics that decides the future of News Corp's leadership.
Just a little bit more on that Rupert Murdoch situation. He did put out a statement to employees at News Corp in the wake of that judgment from the UK government, saying we should have acted more quickly and aggressively to uncover wrongdoing. We deeply regret what took place. Interesting to note, though, that News Corp then put out a statement which was much more bullish, really taking issue with the fact that that committee was split around 60-40 on its vote to come out with that statement about Murdoch being unfit to run a major corporation.
And just before we go, something very different, a bit of philanthropy from Iron Maiden.
Just very quickly for you, Stuart, this is the lead singer of Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson, who's announced he's going to bring around 1,000 new jobs to South Wales. He is a qualified pilot, got big interest in aviation. He wants to set up an aviation repair centre, basically to keep that kind of business in the UK. He's a man better known, as you can see there, for thrilling fans around the world with that blend of heavy metal. I think it's the first time we've had a heavy metal band on this show, certainly in my experience.
I'm trying to remember some Iron Maiden hits.
I have to say, if you've got any, do drop me a line on Twitter. I'm lost for an Iron Maiden hit. 1,000 jobs to South Wales. It's good news for that part of the world. It's one of the areas of the UK that traditionally has higher unemployment than most. So that should be up and running within the next 18 months or so, according to Bruce Dickinson. There he is in full flight.
Owen Fairclough to heavy metal. What more could you want here on France 24? That's it from us. Latest news with Claire, very shortly.